Hi, long range hunting. Welcome to episode 21 of our terminal ballistic testing, hunting versus match bullets. Now, welcome back to the 21st. We just did the 20th, which was a great episode, but today we are revisiting the Sierra Match Kings in the federal gold medal match. These are 168 grains and 308. I used these for a very, very long time. In fact, my first kill outside the military as far as hunting was this. It was a buck at 303 yards, dropped it on the spot. It was chasing the doe, stopped for a second, I anchored it. Now, the problem is these can have inconsistencies. Now, the original test I did that we're revisiting was actually a sniper headshot. The reason I did that is I have a buddy reached out, he's a SWAT sniper for his department, and he wanted to see what the ammunition they were using actually did. Well, of course I'm not going to say no, so I went ahead and ran that test. Now, I didn't get an analog head. I'm hopefully getting some pretty soon, but there's a pretty good wait list. If you don't know what the analog head is, it's a ballistic gelatin head, and it's got a skull in there. It's got brains, blood, all that fun jazz. So it's pretty much the most realistic way you can see what's going to actually happen with overpressures, etc. So eventually, once I get some of those, I'll end up redoing it, just showing that. But in the meantime, what I did, I took a neck bone from a deer. I had a couple in the freezer that I needed to mount still. So I took off that neck section straight from where it connects with the head, and I cut out a section of the gel block and stuck that in there. That way you could see that not only what it did through the gel, but what it did to that. Now, I'm going to have you watch a clip from that first one right here on the Sierra Match King, and then we'll talk about it. Now, what you saw was it penciled through. No real transition of energy. It really didn't do anything. It just, even the meat and bone in the back, that was a neck bone, and it blew right through. It didn't separate it from the, cut out. I've got a couple pieces of tape to kind of hold it in place, because in real life, it's held on by skin. There was a slight little piece of gel that I set on the back in order to try to hold that in better, and that got knocked off, but there was really no expansion. And the reason this happens is because the hole is so small that it can clog, whether it's, in a law enforcement situation where it's clothing that clogs it, a deer's hide, even just the ballistic gel was able to do that. So effectively what's happening is it became a full metal jacket. The tip clogged, it penciled through. The other thing to do is called necking over, where what's going to happen is it starts a displacement in that gel or the body, and it's going to start to turn, and it's either going to change directions or start tumbling, or both. Not ideal results. That's not what you want for consistent results, especially with a human being. I have a buddy that's a law enforcement sniper. His team was going in for a guy, and they actually shot somebody with these. And they shot the guy. They were going for that fatal T, and it changed directions and came out the side. It dropped him for a second, basically knocked him out, and then he popped back up, and they ended up having to re-engage him after shooting him in the head. So that is not what you want. You want that bullet crushing through. You want it opening up violently. And because of just the results, I wanted to do a controlled test also at the same time and show the difference. Since that's what I got, I knew that was a potential issue. Now, I ended up doing the second one with an ELD match. Same gun, same bullet weight, etc. Same distance, same target. I'm going to let you watch that real quick. Now, as you can see, that is a major difference. Not only did it open up rapidly, it made a nice temporary wound cavity, but it blew that neck piece completely out the back and ended up impacting the target. So major trauma, it opened it up. That would be an incapacitating shot. And even for some reason, if you were a little bit off, the energy transfer going through there is going to drop that individual. Whether it's law enforcement or hunting, you want consistent results. One of the things you're looking for when you're looking through gel is to make sure that that bullet is traveling in a straight path. It's not tumbling. It's not changing directions. You want it to open up and just crush through there. The more surface area, the more contact you get, the more transition and displacement of energy. Now, penciling through and necking over is not exclusive to the Sierra Match King. It can happen with a number of different bullets based on design. We saw that with the Lapua Sonars. We've also seen it with the hammer bullets where they change directions and or have tumbled. So it's not something that is exclusive just to this. And those are just the gel tests I'm talking about. I also have field experience hunting with Barnes and other type of bullets that have done the exact same thing. So it's kind of one of those things, though, that law enforcement doesn't have the option to drill it. And what drilling it does with that 1/16 of an inch drill bit is open it up, prevent it from clogging, give you more reliable expansion. You do get a slight loss in BC, but, you know, I'm not too worried about losing a little BC when I want optimal results from that projectile. Law enforcement, though, because of legal reasons, can't do that. You know, would it be better if they did? Yes, but they have their hands tied by politicians who are morons. I recommend people don't hunt with this projectile unless it's been drilled. You know, ultimately, I had the option to drill them, but I had got onto the AMAX and saw superior performance with that, and then the ELD match, so I never saw the need to go back to this. Now, I know a lot of people that have stockpiled this and they want to hunt with it, so again, I recommend just drilling it out. That 1/16 of an inch drill bit, one of the easiest ways to do it is get a drill press and get it to where when you bottom out, it's exactly where you want it. I want around a 1/4 inch depth as far as that drilling on the 168 grain, and you can set your bullet up, drill, swap it out, do the next one. And that's going to give you very, very different results from the original. Now you can see in here we have a nice permanent wound cavity, a very good transition of energy. This was shot at 2580 feet per second. So we're still doing a pretty high velocity shot as far as using these. You can see that we have good multi-directional wounding. Multi-directional wounding just means that we're getting that permanent wound cavity in multi-directions. Sometimes if you're either that bullet's changing directions like the hammer did with this, or if the bullet's not expanding a lot at lower than that minimum impact velocity or around that minimum impact velocity, and it's simply not doing the same type of trauma. So you're getting a little bit of displacement, but when you have that, it's just going to be a vertical line. So you want that multi-directional. This is, again, perfect type performance. I'm gonna let you watch the slow motion real quick. You can see it breaks the bucket that it's on. So major, major difference. You got a nice temporary wound cavity on it. I mean, obviously you can see there's a big, big difference in performance. Now, can you get that when it's undrilled? Yes. But again, we want consistent results, and it can be inconsistent. Again, this is very well documented. It's not something that's, you know, new. To some people it might be new, but it's not a new issue. That's why a lot of law enforcement has changed over as far as manufacturers going with polymer tips, even in their self-defense and law enforcement ammunition. I carry critical defense or critical duty as far as my carry gun. I even, you know, for my AR use critical defense ammunition for that, just for the simple fact of I like the performance and I don't have to worry about that potential issue. You know, if you're shooting a projectile for self-defense that basically turns into a full metal jacket, it's not giving you any added benefit and you're just overpaying. So I do recommend that you do this. Now, this was a whitetail setup. We had hide, meat, etc. Much better performance. So if you guys are going to hunt with the Sierra Match Kings, I highly recommend that you drill them out. That's the only way I really advocate using them. It's not that they can't be used or they're not effective. I've used them plenty, and even a penciling shot where it doesn't expand can still be fatal if it hits an organ, but it doesn't leave you any room for error. And again, without that sufficient trauma, it's not going to go down quickly and as rapidly. And we're looking for massive trauma inside that chest cavity, and we want that animal to die fast, optimally dropping on the spot. But that has more to do with shot placement than it does the projectile. I hope you found this educational. I hope it helps you guys if you guys are in a situation where you have a lot of this and you want to utilize it. It's a very simple fix, very easy to do. We got a bunch more coming. Got tipped match kings up next in the 175 and 308. I'm going to keep plugging away. Again, this weekend I knocked out a ton of tests. And so I'm going to start going through those and getting them out to you guys. But everybody be safe out there. Good luck this season. Happy hunting.
Not that hard, people.
Hope you enjoyed this video. Make sure to hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, and turn on notification bell so you won't miss out on any future video. And happy hunting.